What is up, folks at home? Welcome back to the channel. Today we are going to talk about a jig head that is going to change the way that you fish swim baits. Check out this jig head from Ebb and Flow Outdoors. My boy Dave over there sent me some swim jigs and some jig heads to try out. We got a bunch of underwater footage today. We're going to talk about swim baits and talk about how this jig head is going to change the way that you fish swim baits. Let's go. We'll see you there. So let's check out these swim bait heads by Ebb and Flow here. You can see you've got a nice stout keeper. You've got a new designed head with an eyelet on it. You got a hook. Dave has these in all sizes, all variations, but the cool thing about this hook is, and let me get this piece off of it there. The cool thing about these hooks are they're going to destabilize that swim bait, so it's gonna rock and roll like this. And this is gonna act as a keel, and what it's gonna do is it's really going to stabilize and destabilize that bait at the same time. So you're gonna see a lot of rock and roll like this. Now, Dave fishes a ton of saltwater. He fishes a ton of Elastec baits. With that in mind, he created this hook keeper there to keep that in place during a hot bite. So what that hook keeper right there is gonna do is it's gonna keep that Elastec bait locked in no matter what. So here this bait is rigged up. You can see nice head stabilization, nice throughout, but literally this Elastec is not going anywhere. It's not moving an inch. And what it's done, what it allows that to do is get a nice head rock and roll, but also to continue to stay on fish when they are biting, right? That is a huge advantage both in the largemouth game and the smallmouth game, and especially in the ocean game, where this Elastec is going to save you money. You know, at the channel, we love to save money. So anytime that a innovation is around that's going to save us money and save us bait and time, you know we're all about it here. So the moment you've been waiting for, underwater footage on these bad boys. And this jig head is clean underwater. The important things that I always talk about when we look at swim baits underwater is body roll and head wobble. A lot of swim baits can just kick there and be static. This bait, if you watch it, has a very pronounced head wobble. It looks like I'm fishing a Megabass Mag Draft, which is the Cadillac of swim baits in my opinion for head and body roll. If you look at this bait up close, the head and body roll from this jig head is exquisite. Now, Z-Man products are not known for putting a lot of action into baits, so you can tell that the action of this bait is literally dictated by that jig head design. And the fact that it's got a heavy wire hook is even bigger of a bonus for people that want to catch those bigger fish, wrestle those bigger fish out of cover, throw this into places where you're going to need a stouter hook, right? The freshwater, saltwater game, and saltwater, you need that stouter hook, but it still maintains its body roll and wobble. This is a fantastic example of a well-made bait and a well-designed bait. Plus, the eye on the front gives it a target spot for fish to target. Now, you can also slim down this action some. So here it is swimming on a Storm Largo shad, and Storm Largo shad are known for being a great cold water bait, and it's because they have a less erratic swim in action. And basically, if you cut that extra piece off the tail like I did here, I'm fishing a 3-inch Storm Largo shad on the smallest jig head that Dave sent me, and you can see it still has that body roll in action, but it's a little bit more subdued. And what that's going to do is be a benefit in deeper water and colder temperatures. Now, here is this bait upsized on a 3/4 ounce jig head and a 4-inch Largo shad, and you can see it's got a slower kick on it, but that's going to excel in colder water. A lot of times an active kick in colder water is going to hurt you. Now you can speed this bait up. You can see fish in the background there. If you speed this bait up, it's still got that body roll and wobble,
but sometimes in cold water, the benefit of changing your trailer can be noticed, but you're still getting that subtle kick and robble here that the jig head gives to this bait. Plus, you've got the extra added benefit of the eye up front and the stout hook, which I really believe puts it over the top. Now, this was my favorite combination of the day. Here you have a Zoom hollow body 5-inch swimmer on a 1-ounce jig head. This bait is going to be absolutely deadly on the ledges. You can see it's got an extreme body roll and wiggle here. The more kick a bait has, the more pronounced that wobble is going to become. And literally this bait is going to get inhaled. This is a great combination for warm water fishing, for ledge fishing, for fishing out deep, because you're giving a premium swim bait look on a jig head and minnow style bait. Now, we're all about things that do things well. Dave also has skirted options on the jig, and you can see here there is still that pronounced wobble and flare in the skirt. I'm a big believer in the fact that a skirted jig in most situations is going to get bit. Sometimes when a spinnerbait won't get bit, when a chatterbait won't get bit, that swim jig is going to get bit. Now, these are all hand tied by Dave. They look great. He's got Flashaboo in there as well. The thing that I like about this combination is it has that destabilized swim on it. It's got a nice kick and roll in it, but most importantly, it's pulsing and giving that skirt life. If things pulse and look like they have life, they're better off to get bit. Now, here it is with a craw on it from Crush City, that clack and craw from Crush City, and a bait that you can swim and then kill on the bottom and it's still going to stand up with that head design. This is amazing, and this is a weed guard free bait coming through all of this cover and doing it exquisitely well. I'm a huge believer in baits that do lots of things well, saving a bang for your buck. This jig head can do it all. I'm telling you, it's been super impressive to me underwater. It also comes in that hair jig variety. Now, if you have not fished a hair jig, you are missing out. The hair is one of the classic wintertime baits up here. In the ocean, hair jigs are going to get bit all the time. Remember, I grew up on Cumberland fishing striper. We used to vertically jig striper in the wintertime and in the summertime with big hair jigs. This is a 1-ounce hair jig, hand-tied by Dave, with a nice 6-inch fluke on the back of it, a Laztec for buoyancy. But what you see here is it's got an exquisite action. That hair gives it a nice pulsating look, and it is balanced. Right? A balanced jig head with a 90-degree line tie on it for vertically jigging is super duper important. And the cool thing is that you can swim this bait and it's going to destabilize and wobble and swim just like it would. So versatility here is key. You can throw this on the flats for reds. You can fish it in 50 foot of water for tog. You can do all kinds of stuff with this striper, musky, even vertically jigging. But he has bass size options too. Here's a 3/8 ounce hair jig. I'm telling you right now, I'm going to load the boat on smallmouth on this when those fish are stacked up in their winter locations. You have gray and that burnt orange color, and literally this is a great looking hair jig. I'm a big believer in hand tied. It looks really, really, really good in the water, and that eye gives it a nice pop. A lot of the marabou jigs and things like you got right now on the market, they are not this quality. Dave has tied an exquisite jig here that's going to give you a lot of action you can see on that vertical jigging presentation and allow you to really target fish in a different way. That's a really good thing to have in a versatile lure.
Another thing that we love at the channel here is baits that do a lot of things well. So here we have a nice big old 1-ounce jig, right? And hair, it's got a great tie. Dave ties all of these by hand. It's got a great tie up on there. This one has some amazing underwater action. Hair jigs, if you want to vertically jig something in the wintertime, a hair jig is going to get you bit. Also, out on the ledges offshore, a hair jig is the way to go. So Dave has big hair jigs and he has little hair jigs. These little hair jigs, especially ones like this in this crawfish color right here, this gray and orange rusty color, that is absolutely positively going to get bit year round right here because it looks like a crawfish. These baits are super clean. The thing I love about these baits is the eye, right? The eye on these baits is going to generate strikes for you in certain areas where you wouldn't. Here's a swim jig, right? It's got that same destabilized swim on it. It's got a nice good tie in there. You can see it's got that nice keeper to keep baits there. It's got a great swim on it. Fantastic innovation here from Ebb and Flow. If you guys are interested in picking up some jig heads from Dave at Ebb and Flow, I will link all of his information down in the video description. The underwater on these baits is amazing. As you can see, the destabilized rock on that, it adds extra action to the swim bait. Anytime that we can get baits that elevate a simple presentation to an elevated presentation, we are going to like that. These baits are going to do a great job of doing that. And what you have here is a bait that is going to change the way that you fish swim baits. So once again, I will link all this stuff down below in the video description. Give Dave a shout, get some jig heads, get some hair jigs, get all of that stuff. Hope you guys enjoyed today's video. Hope you enjoyed the underwater. Hey, tight lines, go out there, catch fish. We'll see you next time.